Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Zach,
And I'm Pepper.
and today we're doing
Here we are again.
TapTalk number 5.
Number 5.
It's kind of like Mambo number 5, only it's talking about tapestry. It's not a song at all for us. We're not really singers.
Pretty soon we're going to need 2 hands to count these.
Oh boy. It's going to get into the numbers that we just don't know much about. But no, this is the 5th Tap Talk we're doing. So kind of what we do with these, if you haven't seen these before, is we take 2 civilizations that we think kind of should either interact or either have, like, just based on the names of them, kind of seem like they are similar, or something about them seems interesting.
Whether just the theme of them is similar, or they do similar things, or maybe they do polar opposite things. We want to see how they mix together.
Because most of the games of Tapestry we play are mostly 2-player, sometimes 3. But since we do a lot of 2-player, we're kind of trying to see how some of these 2-player these go up against each other.
Yeah.
So in this video, we've got.
I played the Spies.
And they were taking on the Infiltrators.
So this is kind of one of those ones where it's more thematically matchup.
Yeah, because if you read off here, we can read off what they kind of do. They're not really together or do things, but
the Spies use subterfuge and deception to leak information from neighboring nations. So its ability at the beginning of each of my income turns, 2 through 5, I may place a player token onto one of the benefits on this civilization mat and choose a neighboring opponent to apply that benefit to. And the 4...
So in this case, in a 2-player game, I'm the only opponent.
Every time. The 4 benefits are... I can gain the benefit of a when played tapestry on your civilization mat. I can gain a benefit from one of your tiles in your supply, either a space tile or a normal exploration tile. I can gain the benefit of one of your current positions on one of the advancement tracks, but not the bonus. Or lastly, I can gain the benefit showing on one of your tech cards, and it would be the benefit in the row that it is slotted into.
So definitely some interesting things, I would think. I mean,
and also, if I do, I may request to see your hand of tapestry cards.
So then you can see kind of if they're
show me.
Planning on playing a trap on you or doing anything like that. It definitely is interesting, but it makes sense for the Spies. But then for the Infiltrators, they fortify and influence other civilizations. So I get to start with a star.
So you were helping me. You were fortifying.
Yes, I was fortifying his defenses.
And I was just stealing your
he was stealing all my information once he brought me in. But at the beginning of my income turn, 2 through 5, I'm able to do one of the 2 following things. So I can either place one of my outpost tokens on a territory with exactly 1 opponent outpost and nothing else. This is not a counter action, and both outposts remain upright, and the control of the territory is shared. And then I can gain the benefit on the territory if there is one. And then there are now 2 tokens on this territory, so it cannot be conquered. It does not count for the Middle Island achievement, so I wouldn't be able to just force myself into the middle to get the secondary reward for that by doing this anyway. Otherwise, my other option was to place one of my player tokens on an opponent's capital city and then gain capital city territory on the board, and then gain 1 point for every outpost that he hadn't placed yet onto the board. And if it's my 3rd player token there, I got to gain another civilization, and whenever I would do that, or gain a civilization, I would draw 3 and keep 1. So discarding the others. So it's definitely interesting. They don't quite interact
not really
with each other, but kind of interesting duo of Spies versus Infiltrators.
Yeah.
So, and then also, we did not play with the adjustments in Tapestry, but both of their adjustments happened to just be lose a resource at the beginning of the game.
I don't know. I don't know.
How
can you do a first income with 3 resources?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it changes things, because then if the others, are less powerful and keep those resources, then they're likely not going to be the first one out that round, so then they don't get the bonus resource.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it really at the end matters, but we don't. We just like to play it how it originally was, and we. At least I do. I should say I like to just do it for like fun and see what I can do with these, even if it's a bad civilization.
Yeah.
But from the beginning, which one did you kind of think would be a little more powerful than the other, maybe? Or did you think they would be pretty evenly matched?
Well, I definitely thought the more fun one would be the Spies. With kind of a when-played ability, possibly a space tile, or a benefit on the track, or a tech card. I thought that those benefits could be huge, but at least would be decent. Even if they weren't the best.
Right.
And yours, you could get some good amount of points.
And eventually get another
Civ, which could be great for you, or maybe not.
You never
so
know
great.
What you're going to get for that.
But you do get to draw 3.
Yeah, so that does help. But yeah, I agree. I think from the beginning, I was kind of thinking the Spies would probably have a little bit more of an advantage, or be a little better than the Infiltrators, but I didn't think the Infiltrators were too bad. But at the same time, in just a 2-player game where the Spies are you only have one opponent versus maybe 2 to take from or do those things to. I think that kind of limits possibly what you could do, but I think the Infiltrators kind of suffer from that same thing where if I wanted to place on a tile, I can only do it on the territories you go out to control. So if you never go on something with a benefit, then I'm always just placing my cubes on there, which isn't the worst thing either, because you still get a handful of points plus once you get your third one on there, you can get the civilization. I thought this would for sure be the one that would be better by the end of the game. That was my thought.
But that is guaranteed points,
right?
Because especially in a multiplayer game, there's probably going to be someone who doesn't conquer. So you can get, I believe you have 8 leftover outposts to begin with, and if you can get even just 2 of those, you could get 15 to 20 something points just from that.
That's true.
So I could see that being overpowered. It's a little different in a 2-player game where it really depends on how much that one person will conquer. But you should still be able to get a good 15 points if you focus on just that.
For sure, yeah. I would agree on that. That is true. But yeah, I think they're both probably on the better half of civilizations.
I think, their ceilings could be very high for all of each of these.
Yep, I would agree. But yeah, so then getting into the game, my hope, I was kind of going to see how or what he kind of did that first income phase. If he went out and put out a lot of outposts, then I was maybe going to try to just go on those spaces and gain the benefits. But if he didn't really explore out much, I figured I'm just going to place all 3 my first 3 cubes out there and get another civilization. So that was kind of my plan from the start. And I may have ended up doing that.
You may have. You may have.
What were your plan from the start based on that?
I knew that you would want me not to conquer, so I was kind of like, okay, I'm going to conquer in this game. I'm going to try to go up that track. So I think I ended up going up here 3 times in my first income. I went up science. It didn't really give me a goal because it didn't have to do anything with me.
Right.
It had to do everything with you. So it didn't really give me a direction other than because of your Civ, I wanted to go up the military.
Right.
But I had picked up this Theocracy Tapestry card, which says I cannot advance on the science track, but whenever I enter a new advancement tier, I gain 4 points. So I knew that I wanted to set myself up to enter a few new tiers in my second era.
Mm-hmm.
So that meant stopping here before entering the 4th spot of the military,
Yeah.
going up just a little bit on exploration, and then kind of just sitting there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, even though you did go up on that early, I still ended up going with that cube option. But just like yours, it doesn't really give me a specific like goal of I should go up these tracks versus those. But I ended up going up the exploration track. I was kind of thinking I would do some exploring in military. And that's sort of what I did right off the bat. I ended up being able to get to the 4th spot on exploration, get the lighthouse bonus. But then I was also trying to get another tapestry card, because the one that I had from the beginning was whenever you gain an income building, you may gain any type of income building instead. I feel like that one, it could be useful, but I feel like I don't know exactly how I would use that. I wasn't 100% sure how to use that.
Yeah.
So I didn't really want to have to use that one, so then I ended up getting I think I got a card from another space. I don't remember how I got it, but I did get another card, which gave me another one that was very similar. It was whenever I placed an income building in my capital city, I gained 3 points, which I think is a decent one to get right away, because that's kind of when you can start collecting, maybe one of each of the income buildings, or, 2 of one and 1 of 2 other types. It's a good time to be able to do that. And it's not that many points in the grand scheme of thing, but there are definitely a lot worse ones like that one that would get you absolutely nothing. Yeah. So I just, after I'd played that, I knew I kind of wanted to get a few buildings of each one. So I kind of started going up on those other tracks after that. And then I had drawn this industrialism, which is whenever you invent technology, gain the circle benefit on it. The card remains in the bottom row for now. So I had to make up my mind on whether or not I wanted to attempt that, because I really still didn't want to use that other card. So then I tried to set myself up for that.
Yep.
While you were doing what again?
So yeah, I was pretty much just going up those tracks, and I was hoping that you would have some great benefit for me to take advantage of. And I believe, so going into my first income, I got to copy something of yours. Mm-hmm. You didn't have a when played tapestry card. Your positions on the tracks were all pretty low, and I wanted to save that for later.
Right.
Your tech card was a 3-point card from a landmark. And your tiles, you didn't have very good tiles. You had tiles that gave you cards and science die rolls.
Right. I was hoping for some that would give me some food, and that's why I was going to do both of the exploration and the military track. But yeah, the tiles that I got did not have many food benefits.
And you had a decent amount of tiles.
I did too. Yeah, and a lot of them were the roll the dice without the benefit. A couple of the tech ones. I can't remember what else. I didn't get any buildings either until the end. But yeah, so you did not have many good choices.
I did not have many, but I thought that tiles, if you get some space tiles, that would be a great benefit. A when played can be great, and a position on a track could be great. So I ended up just getting 3 points from your tech card, and I was not really liking how the game was going at that point. That early in the game, I was like, I really wanted to get something good.
Right, yeah, kind of
an income building or something to really boost.
There were not very good options for you,
no.
I don't think. I suppose you could have, looking back, could have gotten a tech card instead, but I don't know. We didn't start the game with great tech cards either. That didn't help either.
A lot of them were move up tracks without the benefit.
Yeah, I think there was 2 of those, and then a building. Might have been the square building, I think. I think it was this one. So it wasn't awful, but it wasn't really useful, I didn't think. At least I don't like to. I typically don't go up the track without benefits.
No.
But it's interesting. So yeah, that led to, like I said, I had gotten buildings, and I was kind of looking. I had 2 of the tiles that allowed me to get tech, or to lay them and get the tech cards. And I was also on the second space of the technology track, so the next two spaces would also give me tech cards. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to try to get as many tech cards as I can with these benefits, which, like I said, there weren't very many good ones on there, or there weren't any good ones. Like the building ones, I think, are probably my favorite, the circle benefits. If there's ever building ones on there, I almost immediately always go for them, if I can. And so I was like, well, it's going to be a lot of drawing off the top. But that's what I ended up doing. Like that whole time, I was able to, I believe, lay 2 tiles, and I think I also got 2 of them here. I thought I got one some other way. I might have had it was either 4 or 5 cards. And what were my benefits? I got 4 points. I got to roll the die without benefit. I think I got
one of the buildings.
I think I got a military, and then I got a building. I think I got the 4 points as well.
Yeah.
So I think I got 8 points, green die without benefit, rolling it. Oh, maybe that's what got me somewhere. I'm trying to remember. And then I got the brown building, I think, and the conquer. I tried to conquer. Maybe I think I got 4. I tried to conquer the tile that I'd laid with the tech card to try to get another tech card. But I did not roll the, what is it, the 2 out of 6 chance. I was not able to pull that off. But I mean, there's still good benefits, but it was a little disappointing.
Yeah,
it wasn't quite what I was hoping. If I do this, hopefully I can get some really good stuff. And it just felt like kind of almost felt like a whole wasted round because I was solely focused on that. And to place those tiles, I pretty much had to spend a ton of resources. I think I got the green die benefit, and I had to choose if I wanted to go up on the exploration track, which skipped my last brown building, which we were playing at the planned employees, and I had gotten 2 brown buildings at that point, and I needed a third one to play my bonus building, and I decided to skip it. It was taking a risk, but I'm like, well, then I'll be set up to be able to play another tech card or tech card tile, which was my plan for the whole round. I just want to see how it worked out, but like I said, I typically don't like to move up without benefit, and that felt really strange to me because I typically don't do that. That kind of got me to where I was, and it got me a lot of tech cards, which was not my plan from the start. And at that point, I think I was still on the 1 space, the military track. I might have gone up the science track a couple times at that point, and then I was, 4 spaces up on the technology and exploration. I was on like the 9th space, which was part of my hope was to get there, but
and that time I couldn't go up on science anymore. And since I was focused on military, I figured I'd go for the middle island achievement. So I went up a couple times, and I think you were 2 spots away from being able to get the middle island, so I was worried about that. But I figured you probably had other things you wanted to do, and probably going to come conquer me after I conquered it or something.
What I like to do usually.
So then I kind of went up this, the whole second tier of military, or entered into, and for my bonus 4 points, and kind of went through that whole thing, gaining those 2 conquer actions, some buildings, and conquering that middle island, as well as going up into the second tier of exploration to get, I think, a building and obviously explore a tile and get those 4 points again for entering a new tier. But kind of going in all of those second tier really kind of drained my resources pretty quickly.
Yeah, I feel like that's the tough thing with Tapestry. If you start to go off a little bit on every track at the beginning, you kind of catch yourself in a bad spot.
Yeah.
For sure, because then you're having to spend 2 resources to do any action, and that gets to be extremely spendy extremely quickly. Where did you end up?
Then I ended up, I had picked up a trap as well as as a card that said I can gain a resource or up to 3 territories. Choose up to 3 territories containing your toppled outpost, stand up those outposts, and topple those opponent outposts. So I felt pretty safe with my whole standing on the board. I thought, okay, if he comes and destroys me, I can always topple
Play that
his.
at the end.
And I would also have a trap as well to protect myself. So I think I ended...
So you had 2 traps?
I had 1 trap.
Oh, okay. But you ended up giving it up because you didn't really have anything else.
I ended up, because I took I still never got any of these bonuses, but I took my income. It felt pretty early for that era. I decided to play the trap tapestry card for 10 points, knowing that if he conquered me, I could just flip those later. I thought. But then also with my second benefit here, you still didn't have any when played abilities on your cards.
Right, yeah. The first 2 are this era.
And I wanted to wait a little longer to claim one of your benefits on the track, so I ended up copying one of your tiles, which I think gave me a tech card.
Oh, yeah, you might have came back and got that tech card.
Which I think I drew from the top, and what did I get? I think
You got the 2 tiles.
I got the 2 tiles. No. What was it? Yeah, I did get the 2 tiles. No. That was before.
I think you got that when you first went here.
Oh, yeah,
maybe.
that is.
Because it was the first one you did because you didn't want to take that spot on the exploration. See, I don't remember which one you got. It must have been this, I think.
Yeah.
It was the food.
I got a card that ended up giving me a resource when I upgraded it, but also if I upgraded it again, it gave me a yellow building, which it's not that bad. But still, I wanted to save that for possibly a space tile, that benefit.
Right. Especially since I was so far up.
Income building straight up. So it didn't feel that great.
No,
using
definitely
that spy benefit.
Definitely not. But no, then I was kind of looking forward to my third income because I'd spent quite a bit in that one since I'd gone up the exploration in the third tier there. Cost me a lot of resources, and I didn't really have that many great cards, but I had picked up the Empiricism. And this one is, this era, if you advance on the science track, you gain 2 points. Whenever you roll the science sign said, roll it twice and choose 1 result. So then I knew that my next hope was to go up the science track to at least get the 2 spots where I got to roll the die, and then probably do the repeat in action space that I'm on with hopefully the space tiles was what I wanted to do.
You always try to do that.
I love doing that.
Try to do that.
I love doing that.
As you can see, there are a lot of space tiles
there are
out
a lot
there.
of space tiles out here. I don't know who got those ones. It may have been me. But yeah, so then that was my next hope, was to go up on that quite a bit. And I did, and I went up. Kind of got a combination of going up on the science and that track. My resources were kind of a little low, even though I got all the bonus resources in the game, right? 3, 2, and 1. So 6 total extra resources. But yeah, I started going up there. Well, actually, kind of what happened.
So I continued
he pulled the pepper.
Continued to go up the military, again draining a lot of my resources. I hadn't been able to get too many income buildings out that I wanted to copy some of your abilities to get. So that didn't work out. I think I failed to conquer you. You played a trap, which I did see in your hand when I looked at it, but I decided to do it anyway. I did it anyway.
And then I toppled.
But yeah, I think I moved up a little bit on exploration and a lot on military, so what would it be? No, yeah, I started going up science again because I was allowed. And I tried to roll the dice.
Yes.
Which I got 1 movement up the military track.
Which is good.
Yeah. And I also got a movement up the technology track with the second one, which I gave up a great building to roll the die.
And that was the one you didn't want to go up on.
And that was the one. I had moved up to the gain a tapestry card. Which, as you remember, I already had a tapestry card that I wanted to use, possibly to flip over toppled outposts.
Right.
So I just gained another tapestry card. It was a useless one. Actually, no, it was not a useless
It wasn't a useless
It wasn't
one.
a useless
I thought
one.
you were
That's the whole
joking.
point.
I thought you were joking.
I completely forgot. Well, I drew like 3 more after that, and they were all useless. But the one that I did draw was
the card you always have up your sleeve.
I always have it.
The Dystopia.
Dystopia card.
I always get robbed.
Lets you gain a landmark, any landmark on the board.
Ever since the first time I've played this game, you had that card, and I'm like, wow, that feels really take-thatty. And it gets me every time you have it. I'm like one space away from getting a building, and you do it. I had a perfect spot for this spaceship.
You were one space away from 2 buildings this time.
But I didn't want that one. I never had any intention of taking that.
So I took an income, played the Dystopia. I stole the spaceship right from under you.
Yes, I had a perfect spot for it that would have set me up to be one away from... so I would have got a food or a resource, and then I would have been one away from getting another resource. And instead, I have to use this stupid building eventually to try to make up some of the resource. That didn't really fit anywhere in my map. I hadn't planned on even getting it.
Did not fit in my map either, but this one fit perfectly. It was meant to be here.
Wow. Wow, I don't even like that. But yeah, so then I ended up going up on a space anyway. And the only reason I ended up getting this building was because I went up the science track like I said I was going to. And one time I rolled tech. So even though I got to roll twice and got to pick one, I didn't really have a choice. But it ended up being fine because I got 2 more tech cards and got the building, which allowed me to get at least 1 resource, but didn't really have a great spot to be able to get 2 easily with that one. But no, so then I was able to go up that, and and at that point, after I laid this, I had laid my 3rd cube there to get my 2nd civilization, which was the aliens, which
we just played in the
which
previous
we just
TapTalk.
played. So you can go back to that to see how this plays, but otherwise you pretty much at the beginning of your income turns, if there's a space tile on the civilization mat, discard it, then choose one of these following options. That'd be explore one of the space tiles from your supply, placing it on the civilization map. If you discarded a space tile from your civilization map this turn, you must first pay a resource, otherwise you can gain a resource. And this also says you start with 4 face-up space tiles in your supply, not on this mat. So I assume, I'm not 100% sure, I assume you get to take 4 when you get this one, which I did, and I played... one of the space tiles that I got was get a yellow building and then score those yellow buildings, which I think only got me 3 points, but I think it completed another square for me to get a resource, which was nice. And then also the other 3 tiles that I had gotten were really good. I think I got the red building one just like that, and then one with 2 resources and 8 points. And then I believe it was the science, go up the science track and get the benefit, and then get the number of points equal to how far you are up on the science track. So I knew I had some really good ones, so then I ended up going to that next spot and playing the one that gave me the resources so that I could keep having enough to keep going up the science track with those other resources. And then I ended up moving on that track again to play another tile, plus I paid to play a second one. And with that one I went up to science and got the science benefit, plus I got the 2 oh wait a minute, I had drawn more. Oh yeah, with the last one I had drawn more, so I had gotten one just like the one that went up the science. With the technology I got to go up it and get the points for that. I got another tile that got me 2 resources and 8 points, and I got one that gave me a tech card and an upgrade. and then I got to score my tech cards. So these were all really, really good tiles for me. Just happened to fall into place as it did when, I'd gone and gotten all those tech cards, which wasn't my plan at the beginning of the game. But then when I went up there, I was able to take that again and play 2 more. So then that's how I ended up going up even further on the tech track, which ended up getting me another yellow building and got me to score those again and got me another upgrade to get me another building, I believe. So those all ended up getting me a lot of really good stuff.
Yeah.
I think that kind of more than made up for my somewhat bad luck getting all those tech cards.
Yes. And as your whole game was falling into place, mine was falling apart.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it very much falling apart. So I planned on. So I was about halfway up the science track at this point, and about a little into the 3rd tier of military, and I decided I want to move pretty much all the way up to science, to also gain those benefits to move up military freely. Which I hadn't gotten a lot of gray production, mostly because I had given up that gray building to go here, which got me a dystopia card, but I did sacrifice a gray production for that. So I didn't have a lot, but I thought maybe with filling in areas in my capital city that I'd be able to gain wild resources and edge it out, at least to get to this spot to move up for free twice on a military. So I got up there, I moved once, I got 1 free movement, so that's good. And then
putting himself in position.
And then I was already short by the time I got close to entering the 4th tier of science. I only had 1 gray guy, so then I had to go elsewhere. And I believe I went kind of up the tech a little bit to get a building here to fill a spot to get a gray. And then I ended up going up on the gray, going backward.
To get that building, I think.
Oh, yes, to get this building.
Yep, to fill in another space.
Which also, it moves me backward. I didn't want to go backward on red. And you can't go backward on blue, which I would have really liked to do, because it would get me at least something.
Right.
But I go back on yellow and get a useless tapestry card.
But did you buy the yellow building?
No, I did not. I ended up, it would be the same either way. I figured, I thought I was going to be able to do it, because any building that I got would get me 1 of free resource. And so I need 2 grays at this point. So I went up then with extra resources, my last 2, up the blue track to get a building, which got me a gray resource. And then I could spend a resource to explore, and I had a tile that had the gray. But I didn't factor in that I'd have to spend a resource
to get
that benefit to explore. Otherwise, if I could have, that would have been 2 grays. It would have moved me up here, which would have moved me up 2 times on that track.
Could have toppled me.
Which would have gotten me a big building there, and a building which would have completely filled in my city map. I would have gotten to play my tapestry card, which would topple your buildings, which would get me that achievement.
Right, because you had ended up trying to get me twice, and I ended up having trap cards 2 times.
Yes.
I think we said the once, but I did get... So I never ever went after you, but I was able to still topple you twice.
Yes.
But your game kind of fell apart there. It just didn't quite work out. It's crazy how
I don't even know how many points that could have been.
Right. It's crazy how, just being 1 resource short can totally change a game of Tapestry for sure. Just being slightly out of position changes everything. But yeah, my game definitely, I didn't think it was going anywhere because it really felt like, this doesn't go well together because, the first one could really be anything going up, with the buildings. But then, my main goal originally was go up the exploration and the military. But then I get this card, which is tech related. So then I'm kind of going up that instead of the military. which I mean could still work.
Yeah, I think that based on what space tiles you ended up getting and getting the aliens, you drawing this tapestry card really made your game. Because it steered you in that direction.
Right,
And
because I just didn't have anything
everything.
else. Right, yeah, it ended up working out. But yeah, at the time I was like, this does not go together at all with what I want to do. And then
Yeah.
I ended up getting this one that's telling me to go up the science track, so I'm going up all these different tracks. I ended up getting up on the military track late, a few spaces, but nothing major on that one. But yeah, I got most of my capital city filled. I had 5 empty spaces up here in this corner, so missed out on 5 lines.
Forgot to mention. For some reason, I forgot to mention the civilization ability I used in the income that I used, the dystopia. I don't know why I forgot. Maybe it was just because I did absolutely nothing with it. Because you still had no when played.
Yeah, I played all this era
cards.
tapestry cards, so you didn't have an option there.
So again, I thought I'll just wait and gain the benefit of a spot on the track for the last one, and hope you're at something great, maybe space tiles or something late on science with free movement or something. So I just took my medicine, got no benefit at all. And moved on. And then it ended up, for my final income, gaining a benefit on a track. You were on the last spot of the exploration, which was nothing to me because I didn't have space tiles to explore with.
Right.
You weren't that far on this track. It would just be a conquer for me. You had the repeating ability, which would be repeating one of mine, which would be tech card on yellow, a brown building on blue, move back
on yellow or
red, or else
military.
A conquer again, or else I could upgrade and gain the circle benefit, which I ended up doing to get myself. I upgraded to gain a tech card, and then also got another tech card from that.
So I mean, it wasn't the worst.
Which then,
your last one.
that also let me upgrade to the top tier to score my tech cards once, which
another 5
gave
points.
me 5 points.
Not awful.
So it wasn't that bad, but definitely not what I was hoping for.
No, definitely at the start of the game, not that type of hope. But so you can probably kind of tell the way things kind of played out in those, especially the last 2 round or eras that we had there. The Infiltrators ended up winning 291 to the Spies 141. So it wasn't really close. I think you'd have probably made up maybe 50 of the points if you had that play out right, maybe. Because you would have gotten 5 from top lane. Now would have lost a couple points there. You'd have gained
I would have gained a couple more. I would have been up here, which would have gotten me a red building, which would score my buildings again, so that'd be another 8 points maybe. And it would score my tapestry cards, which
you
be
had
3, 4, 5, 6 points. It would get me a lot more lines, 6 more lines, which would be 12 more points for the filled city. It would have scored my exploration, which would be about 6 points. And yeah.
So yeah, it was 30 to 50 point swing there. So still would have lost. I don't think it would have been enough to overcome 150 points, but
more than I scored.
I definitely had a lot
more than I scored.
Definitely had a lot more go right than I thought. But I think if we played these two against each other 10 times, I think the Spies would probably win 60% of the time.
Yeah,
I think
maybe, but
maybe not in a 2-player game. In a 3-player game, I think they would win more often.
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know for. See, because I could see them, like you said, it's definitely got the opportunity to be a huge civilization. So I'm like, should they lose that resource at the beginning? If you are playing with those rules. I don't know, because if you have a game if you have a 2-player game especially, it's like your options are still pretty limited by what your opponent plays, and
and especially with the when played,
right,
and not having a backup like just gain a resource or anything like that. Like you
Right.
literally just get nothing.
Right.
I think, and especially since the opponent would know that.
Right. And I didn't intentionally ever
No, you
do it.
didn't.
I
'Cause
only
I only
ever
drew,
had
like,
one
one or
when
two.
played card. And I got that towards the very end, and this one just ended up being a better option for me than the when played.
Yeah.
So it had nothing to do with me trying to avoid doing it, but at the same time, you could if you have two cards that are like, well, these are about even 50-50. Well, I'm not going to let him gain anything from me.
Yeah.
So I'll just play this.
Yeah. So I mean, when I think I got almost the bare minimum that you can benefit from with this.
So, and I mean, it was still probably better than some civs,
Yeah.
I would say. So even at its, bottom level floor, I think it's still very powerful. So I guess, yeah, it probably, you can maybe get rid of the resource. But
I mean, I think usually you're not going to have to take 3 points from the tech and get no when played, and just get a tech card from a tile.
right.
Usually it would work out quite a bit better.
Yep. But yeah. So did you have any other thoughts on these after that play? Did this bring up any extra thoughts on them?
I think, I mean, this can be nice to,
Do you think you would ever just go for benefits on that?
if there's income buildings out there,
Yeah.
I think you can do that.
And that
for
was
sure.
the thing, too, that you never ended up on any tiles that gave anything but resources.
I don't ever draw income buildings or anything.
Well,
great.
I didn't draw one until the very end this game.
But yeah, unless those are out there, I wouldn't see ever doing that instead of getting another civ and like 20 points, pretty much.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. You definitely have to have them out there early, and you have to have people going and claiming them early to just kind of be able to do that. But
Yeah.
I could see it maybe being a little more beneficial in like a higher player count, because I don't think it has any. It doesn't have to be your neighbors like yours does. So
yeah.
you'd at least have the option of pretty much anyone. So maybe in a, if you did play this 5 players, that could potentially give you a lot of options for where to place them, which would be interesting. Because you could also move across the board then too, because you would have influence in that
So,
part.
I mean,
So
yeah,
that could be
you
interesting.
may not be able to outright conquer the middle island, but you can go right next to it and then conquer it. And
So
really only have
you
to
could
move
use
up
it for
the
that type of
military
thing.
once.
So that'd be interesting
Yeah.
as well.
With these, with those disadvantages in 2-player, only having one other player for the option, I think maybe if you are playing 2-player, you should have the option of your own, stealing from your own, possibly. So then if there's something like this, I could play this trap for a when played, and maybe just get 10 points out of that. Or maybe if I just
So
have
do you get
a
to
good
play the
tile.
dystopia twice?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, maybe
think-
I could see that.
I think-
in a 2-player game, possibly. I would say if your opponent doesn't
If they
present the option
Yeah.
to do it, then you could type thing.
Yeah, that for sure.
You're forced to do your opponent's first, but then you could do yours if you don't have the option.
Yeah.
Type thing. I could see that.
But overall, I think they're pretty even civs.
Yeah.
This one's a little more guaranteed, but I think this one might have a little higher ceiling.
Do you think they would be ones you'd recommend for beginners?
No, not really. I would
No.
not.
I think they take a little bit more planning, or maybe not necessarily planning. I think you just need to kind of know the game, how it works a little bit more before doing these ones. But I think after 1 or 2 plays, I think you could probably play these decently easy. I don't think it takes that much planning ahead for either of these, outside of if you were going to go for that extra civ or not.
Yeah.
You'd just have to decide that kind of right a bit way. So other than that, I don't know if you'd need to really plan that far ahead for that one.
I mean, I just found
Maybe.
myself, what do I least
Right.
care about
I feel
sacrificing?
like just when it comes up,
I mean,
I don't think you have that much control over where these things are going to
Yeah.
be necessarily,
yeah, I mean,
which is kind of interesting.
yeah.
No, I would say they're both very good civilizations to
What
try
about
out.
for their power ranking, 1 to 5. What do you think?
Power ranking, who? Ooh, boy. I would think they're both 4s. I don't think they're the most powerful, but I think they're still on the higher end for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I think 4. Maybe a light 4, but a 4. Definitely above average.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Yeah.
mean, not like just completely overpowered. Like I wouldn't ever really consider nerfing these two.
Right. Yeah. I don't think. Maybe the Spies in a 3-player. Maybe I could see getting rid of the resource in a 3-player game. But yeah, in a 2-player game, I don't think it would need to. You could still have a lot of really good stuff happen. For sure.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
I mean, the same thing could happen with this one. It's potential that you somehow get all the building tiles and then you go out and conquer them. And I just am able to place on all of those and get those as benefits or something. Unlikely to happen, but it could. But yeah, other than that, that's why, like you said, I don't know that this would necessarily be so powerful that no one could overcome it. But yeah,
I think it's probably. It could be one of the most consistent.
Yeah, I think it's a consistent
with those guaranteed
like
points. If you want to just do that.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. It's a very consistent one. It's going to play very similarly from game to game.
Inconsistent one. Yeah,
and neither one of them really, I think, forces your play one way or another.
Yeah,
I don't think you can kind of do whatever you want, and it won't necessarily interact with either of these. But yeah.
Overall, I enjoyed both of these, seeing them played.
Yeah, I think they would be some of my top ones. And hopefully, eventually, once we get through all of them, we can rank them in the order we like them best. Best to worst. You're definitely going to hate the Spies now.
I've won one game.
You despise
the Spies. My number one.
You despise the Spies.
So yeah, you are 4-1 now. I've only won one game. That's going to be my number one Civ, likely.
All these other ones are down in the bottom, tied for last. But no, let us know what you think of the Infiltrators or the Spies, or if you would have played them differently, if there's other strategies and how to play these, or take advantage of what they do a little bit more. Because I think we kind of did what they can do. Obviously, you didn't have the opportunity to do that much, but I think we pretty much used them the best that they could be used in this situation. I don't know if there's better ways to use them. But otherwise, it's a good game of Tapestry.
Yeah, it was a good game. I mean, it felt like it wasn't the greatest with the cards that came out.
Yeah,
but
it felt close right away.
Yeah, it did feel like it ramped up quite a bit.
Yeah.
For better or worse.
Yes. But otherwise, you can check out our other 4 videos where Pepper wins one of them. Which one it is, you're going to have to find out.
So we've gone through 10 of these civs.
10 civs out of 26. So we got how many more games to play?
8 more.
8 more games. What's it going to be at the end? You're going to have to You're going to have to start getting some wins to even it out a little bit more. But no, otherwise, thanks for watching. If you've gotten this far, definitely throw a like if you like it, or a comment if there's something you would like to see different or improved, or maybe something something else you'd want us to talk about when we're talking about these civilizations, or kind of how we decide our moves or whatever. And yeah, that's Tapestry. You got anything else to say?
I've only got one thing to say.
And what is it?
Don't forget to
keep on nibbling.